Chosen one, listen. God is doing something right now that he has never done in all of human history. Not in the days of Noah, not in the time of Moses, not in the courts of Esther. What is beginning to move in your life at this very moment is without precedent in the long and unbroken record of time. And the reason it has never happened before is you. I know that sounds like the kind of thing that gets said to make people feel better. I know those words can arrive wrapped in warmth when you are cold and leave nothing real behind. But what I am about to say today is not comfort. It is a confrontation with a truth that has been waiting for you to be ready to receive. And I believe you are ready. I believe that is why you are here. Think about what you have been carrying. Think about the specific weight that has followed you from room to room, from year to year, from one version of hoping into the very next. You have prayed prayers that returned unanswered, or so it seemed. You have stood at the edge of what looked like your breakthrough and watched it recede like a tide that changed its mind at the last possible moment. You have waited in a silence that should have been filled by now, and the waiting has not been passive. It has been active and deliberate and costly. It has asked things of you that most people do not know were being asked. It has required you to show up for a life that has not yet reflected back the fullness of what you know you were made for. You have watched people around you receive what you have been asking for, people who seemed less prepared, less faithful, less committed to the path you chose. And somewhere in the quiet, in the places you do not say out loud, a question has lived inside you. A question that sits at the bottom of every prayer and every late night and every moment of honest wondering, why not me? Why is what I am carrying still not enough? Why does the door remain closed when I have knocked every way I know how to knock? That question is not faithlessness. That question is not weakness. It is the echo of something completely real. The people who ask it with the most depth, with the most persistent and unrelenting sincerity, those are not the people God has abandoned. They are the people he has been preparing for something that does not yet have a category in what you can see. And I want to say one more thing about the waiting before we go further. The delay you have experienced was not evidence of divine indifference. It was evidence of divine precision. End quote. Not the things that took the longest to arrive in Scripture were the things that required the most preparation, not in the receiving, but in the one who was going to receive them. The sea did not open until the man who would lead the crossing had been completely unmade and rebuilt. The child did not come until the woman who would raise him had been broken open into a depth of hunger that would shape everything about who he became. Joseph did not arrive in the palace until the prison had finished forming the patience and the perspective that palace wisdom alone could never have produced. The long season has been building something in you that a quick answer never could have built. And what is being built in the long seasons is not the kind of thing that can be described in general terms. It is always specific. It is always precise. The wilderness is not a holding area. It is a formation facility. The question is never whether the delay had a purpose. The question is whether you are willing to let the purpose be as large as God designed it, because the purpose of your delay is not just about you. It is about every person who will eventually be affected by the version of you that only this specific preparation could have produced. Before I go further, I want to name something you may have been experiencing recently. These are not small things. I want you to hear them not as curiosities, but as confirmations of exactly where you are standing. The first is that the world around you no longer fits the way it used to. The places, the people, the conversations, the old distractions, they feel hollow now, like rooms you have outgrown, like clothes that belong to someone smaller. You have expanded into something your surroundings have not yet caught up to, and that gap produces a particular loneliness that is very hard to explain to anyone who has not felt it. The second is that something in you cannot settle anymore. There is a restlessness that is not anxiety. It is more precise than anxiety. It is like a compass that keeps pointing toward a direction you have not yet taken, and no matter how many times you try to redirect it toward comfort, it swings back. Most people around you are settling. You cannot. And you cannot fully explain why, even to yourself. The third is that you have been returning to the same questions. Not the surface ones, but the deep ones. Who am I really? What was I made for? Why does it feel like I have been asleep inside a life that was never fully mine? Those are not the questions of someone who has wandered from their path. They are the questions of someone being called toward their real one. The fourth is that your sensitivity is different now. You feel more than you did 1 year ago. Conversations carry unusual weight. A piece of music, a moment of silence, a single word spoken at the right time can reach into you and pull something up from a place you cannot name. That is not fragility. That is the awakening of something that has always lived in you and is only now coming fully alive. And the fifth is this: you cannot stop feeling that there is more, not in a vague, wishful way, in a bone-deep, absolute, I will not make peace with less way. Something in you refuses to believe this is all there is. Something in you is not willing to arrive at the end of your days and discover you only ever lived at the surface of what was possible. That refusal is not pride. That refusal is divine origin. It is the Creator pressing on the inner wall of the created, saying, there is more, and you were made for it. If 5 of those 5 are true for you, if you recognized yourself in all of them without effort, I want you to understand what that means. It means that what I am about to say is not general truth delivered to a general audience. It is specific truth for you, for this hour. And the God who orchestrated your arriving here at this exact moment is the same God who is doing something unprecedented in the history of your life. Before I tell you what that unprecedented thing is, I want you to do something with me. Stop trying to receive what I am saying and simply let it arrive. There is a difference between receiving and arriving. Receiving takes effort. It takes posture and performance and trying to feel the right thing. Arriving takes surrender. And what is about to land in your spirit cannot be earned by paying attention the right way. It will simply be true, or it will not. So breathe for just a moment, not as a spiritual exercise. Simply breathe as a human being who has been carrying a great deal for a long time and who deserves even 30 seconds of not carrying anything at all. Good, because what comes next requires you to be present, not performing. There is a word in the original Hebrew text that is usually translated into English as impossible. The word is pala, and it does not quite mean what most English translations suggest when you encounter it in the pages of Scripture. Pala describes something that is extraordinary, beyond the capacity of human explanation or human effort. It does not describe something that cannot happen. It describes something that cannot happen without God. Those are 2 entirely different categories of impossibility. Every time the word pala appears in Scripture, it appears at the edge of a moment that is about to rewrite what everyone assumed was fixed. When Sarah laughed at the announcement of a child in her very old age, the voice from heaven said to her, "Is anything too pala for God?" When the walls of Jericho fell not from battering rams, but from breath and sound and obedient feet walking in a circle, it was pala. When the sea opened at the edge of the wilderness, it was pala, not because water cannot physically part, but because it would not have parted without the specific hand of a specific God moving toward a specific people at a specific hour that had been prepared for longer than anyone could see. The miracle was not the event. The miracle was the preparation that earned the event. The miracle was the specific person meeting the specific hour at the exact moment of complete impossibility. Pala is not the word for the general category of miracle. Pala is the word for the miracle that carries a name. And I want you to sit with that, because it matters more than you may realize. The Pala moments in Scripture are never anonymous events. They are never demonstrations of cosmic power for its own sake. They are always deeply personal, always aimed at someone specific, always arrived at precisely the junction of complete human inability and the complete willingness of God. The sea did not open to prove a point about power. The sea opened because 40 years of shaping in the desert had arrived at the exact moment of impossible necessity, because a man had been broken and rebuilt and silenced and restored precisely for this hour. And the sea knew it. And it moved. What you have been living through, the delay, the wilderness, the doors that would not open, the relationships stripped away, the comfort that would not hold, all of that has not been punishment. All of that has been Pala in preparation. All of that has been the shaping of the instrument through which God is about to do what he has never done before in your story. The reason this feels like the impossible is that it is the impossible. But Pala impossible is a different category than the impossible the world teaches you to fear. Pala impossible is not the end. It is the space just before the sea moves. There is something I want to mention before I continue, and I want to say it plainly, without building mystery around it. There is a small group of neuroscientists, led by a doctor in New York City, who have spent more than 20 years studying something that connects directly to what I'm about to tell you about this impossible season. They have been studying what happens in the human brain at the precise moment of breakthrough. What changes neurologically at the point where the impossible becomes possible. Why children move through the world with such effortless wonder and creativity, and why most adults lose access to that state entirely. There is a measurement they have used in the lab that is worth understanding. When a child is tested for creative problem-solving and original thinking, the results are extraordinary. The brain is firing across both hemispheres simultaneously. The data shows levels of what researchers call whole brain activation that almost never appear in adult testing. In one long-running study, 98% of children tested at the level classified as creative genius. By adulthood, that number had dropped to less than 1 in 1,000. Not because of intelligence, because of the gradual suppression of hemisphere synchronization that adult life systematically produces. I am going to come back to what they discovered about restoring this later in this message. When I tell you, what they found will connect to everything we are discussing today in a way that will make something click into place. For now, simply hold the question. What if what feels like spiritual blockage has also left a measurable mark on the physical instrument through which your spirit operates? What if the restoration God is doing right now is even more complete than you have been imagining? There is a path placed below this message in the description and in the pinned comment below for when that connection lands. But we are not there yet. There is something much more important I need to show you first. And the sea is about to open. I want to tell you something about the nature of divine precedent, because the title of what I am saying today is not poetic exaggeration. When I say God is doing something he has never done before, I am not speaking loosely. I mean that what is happening in your specific story carries details that are singular in all of history. And that singularity has a meaning I need you to hear carefully. Every human being who has ever drawn breath has been known by name in heaven. Every human being ever born has been loved. But not every human being was positioned exactly where you are positioned. Not every human being carried the specific combination of pain and purpose, of preparation and potential, of wound and wisdom that you are carrying right now. The mathematics of your story have never been assembled in this exact arrangement before, and they will never be assembled again. What God is doing through you is a singular event in the record of creation. And singular means it has never been done, not once, not anywhere, not by anyone. What is happening in your life right now is the first time in the entire history of everything that it has ever happened. Think about how a fingerprint works. Out of the more than 100 billion human beings who have walked this earth across all of recorded and unrecorded history, not one fingerprint has ever been a perfect match to another, not even among identical twins. The print is the identity. The print is the uniqueness made physical and permanent and undeniable. Now imagine that the fingerprint the Creator is pressing into this moment of history is not a thumb pressed in ink. It is you. It is the full totality of who you are, your particular pain and your particular faith, your specific disappointment and your specific refusal to stop believing. The question that no one else has asked in quite the same way, and the calling that no one else could carry in quite the same form. God is pressing the fingerprint of your entire life into this exact hour, and it will leave a mark that has never before existed and will never exist again. This is not about importance in human terms. This is not about whether you are more valuable than someone else. This is about how precise God is, how specific. He does not work in sweeping gestures that could belong to anyone. When He parted the sea, He parted it for a specific people at a specific hour, led by a specific man who had been reduced to nothing and rebuilt in the desert for exactly this purpose. When He opened the womb of Hannah, He did not do it because she had prayed the most eloquent prayer. He did it because the son she would carry was already needed in a specific moment of history that had not yet arrived. She was not praying for Samuel, she was praying for a child. But God was creating a prophet, because that is how He works. He is always doing something larger than what you can see from inside your own asking. And you, right now, are in that exact position. You are Hannah at the temple. You do not fully understand what you are carrying. You cannot see all the way to the end of what is being formed inside this season, but heaven does, and heaven has not been silent about it. I want to take you to a specific moment in the story of Moses, because something in it is going to speak directly to where you are standing. The children of Israel have just left Egypt. They have just crossed out of the only life they have ever known, and whatever that life cost them in suffering and servitude, it was at least familiar. It was the shape of reality as they had always experienced it. And now they are in the wilderness. The Red Sea is ahead of them. The army of Pharaoh is moving behind them. And for a moment, standing at that impossible intersection, every human instinct says, this is the end. This is not deliverance. This is devastation. This is God, having brought them all this way only to let them die at the edge of water that will not move. The prayer that was answered becomes the threat. The rescue becomes the trap. This is the specific cruelty of the Pala moment, the moment before the impossible opens. Moses turns to the people, and what he says at this moment is not a strategy. It is not a plan. It is not a motivational speech or a teaching on faith mechanics. What Moses says is simple and absolute. Stand still and see the salvation of God. Not stand still and hope. Not stand still and work on your mindset. Stand still and see the salvation, as in, it is already coming. As in, the thing you cannot figure out has already been figured out by the one who can. As in, your job in this specific hour is not to solve the unsolvable. Your job is to stay still long enough to watch what God does when He is the only one who can do anything. And then the sea opened. It did not open slowly or reluctantly. It did not open a little to get them started. It opened fully. with walls of water standing on both sides, providing the way through that no human calculation could have produced. The sea opened because this was the hour, because the preparation was complete, because the man had been shaped in exactly the desert that prepared him for exactly this edge. For some of you listening today, that is the word. You have been standing at the edge of water that should not be able to open. You have been in a season with no visible path forward, no human solution, no route that your own mind can map. And the voice you have been obeying, the voice of urgency and fear of missing something, has been saying, do something, figure it out. Why are you so still? But the real voice, the one that already knows what is decided, is saying the same thing it said on the banks of that impossible sea. Stand still. What is about to happen is not the result of your effort. It is the result of His word. The sea opened. It opened then, and it opens now. If something in you is rising right now, if you feel the recognition of a truth your spirit already knew before I named it, I want you to type 444 inches the comment section below this message. 444 is the number of foundation of what is being laid down beneath your feet before you can see it. Type it if you feel God building something in you that your eyes have not yet measured. There is one more layer I need to show you before everything else makes complete sense, because what I have been telling you is the opening of the truth, not the whole of it. What is happening in your life goes even deeper than a sea that opens. What God is doing, the specific, unprecedented thing, involves a part of your story that most people never discover. And it begins not with your circumstances, but with the instrument through which your circumstances are experienced, navigated, and received. It begins with your mind. There is a version of you that existed before the world decided who you were. Before the education system determined what kind of intelligence you had. Before the failures accumulated into a story you slowly began to believe was your identity. There was a version of you that moved through life with the full weight of who God created you to be, fully accessible, fully active, fully alive. And that version has never left you. Before I show you what the connection is between that original version of you and what God is doing right now, there is a final layer beneath everything we have discussed, a layer that recontextualizes the impossible from the inside out. Because the seed of what God is doing goes deeper than the brain. It goes deeper than the circumstances. It goes into something that has been covered over, not by accident, but by design. A design that was never from God. And once you see it clearly, the freedom on the other side of it is not something you will want to delay for another season. The full answer is coming, and it is the answer that makes everything else click. Here is the impossible truth that makes everything else make sense. You were born as a carrier of something the world has spent every year since your birth, quietly attempting to dim. Not out of deliberate malice, not with conscious intention, but as the inevitable result of a system that was never designed to produce the full version of who God created. The school system was not designed for the way your mind moves. The productivity system was not designed for the rhythm of your gifts. The approval system, the hierarchy of worth, the measurement of value by output and performance and compliance, none of it was designed with you in mind. And so, piece by piece, year by year, layer by layer, what was once wide awake in you was slowly and systematically covered over, and you accepted it. Not because you were weak, because you were surrounded. But here is what is different right now. What is different is that you are here. You are listening. You cannot hear what I am saying without something in you responding. And that response is not emotional reaction. That response is recognition. Recognition means a knowing that exists deeper than learning. It means this truth was already inside you before I spoke a single word of it. A truth that lives inside you, before you ever heard it named, is not a truth you received from the outside. It is a truth you are. You are a chosen one, who was born with the whole of the intention of God active inside you. Every gift was present. Every capacity was alive. Every layer of intelligence and intuition and spiritual sensitivity that was meant to guide your path was given to you at the beginning. And the impossible thing God is doing right now, the unprecedented act in the full history of your specific line, is this. He is restoring what was covered, not piece by piece, not over another decade of slow, grinding effort, fully, suddenly, the way a sea opens, the way a stone rolls back, the way dawn does not arrive in pieces but arrives all at once and leaves the dark with nowhere to stand. And the restoration is not just internal. When the full version of you walks into the rooms God has prepared for you, those rooms will change. When the whole brain, whole spirit, fully restored version of you steps into the relationships and the assignments and the spheres of influence that have been waiting for exactly this person, those spheres will shift in ways that your partial version could never have produced. The unprecedented act is not just what happens to you, it is what happens through you. It is the downstream effect of a chosen one who finally stopped operating below their original design. I want to tell you about Esther. Esther was not the most powerful person in the palace. She was not the most educated voice in the room. She was not the eldest or the most experienced or the one who seemed, from the outside, like the most qualified candidate for what was being asked of her. She was a young woman who had known displacement and loss, and the specific ache of belonging nowhere. She had been shaped by a history she did not choose. And yet at the pivotal moment of her entire story, when Mordecai speaks to her about going before the king, when she is afraid, when she is measuring the risk against the cost in real time, he speaks words to her that have echoed through every generation since. He asks her whether she has perhaps come to the kingdom for such a time as this, for such a time as this, not for such a time as the previous generation, not for such a time as the next century. For this specific, unrepeatable, historic moment at the precise intersection of this particular crisis and this particular woman with this particular history. When Esther walked through the fear and into the king, she changed the trajectory of her entire people, not because she was the most powerful, because she was the most precisely prepared. Your story has that same architecture. Your arrival at this moment is not accidental. Your preparation was not wasted. Every scar, every silence, every season of waiting and wondering and almost surrendering, those were not detours from your destiny. They were the construction of the exact instrument needed for such a time as this. You have come to this moment carrying the specific combination of history and healing and hunger that has never before been assembled in exactly this way. And God has never before made exactly this instrument. He has never before positioned exactly this person at exactly this junction in the specific line of your family, the specific circle of your influence, the specific intersection of all the lives you will touch from this day forward. What He is about to do through you has never been done before, because you have never existed before. And the impossible that is moving toward you is moving toward you by name. Before I show you the path forward, I want to make sure you are standing on solid ground, because what you have been hearing is not only inspiration, it is architecture. And I want you to leave today with something concrete in your hands, not just something felt in your chest. Here is the first real thing. Your brain, the physical organ through which God delivers clarity and direction and the ability to recognize the right path from the wrong one, was not designed to function at the level most adults are currently operating at. There is a measurable gap between the whole brain activation that was natural to you as a child and the partial activation that most adult life settles into over time. That gap affects how clearly you receive what God is saying. It affects how fully you can act on what you already know. The second real thing is that this gap is not permanent. The brain has a property that scientists call neuroplasticity. It can be rewired. The connection between the two hemispheres that once fired in full synchronization when you were a child can be restored. And it does not require years of discipline or expensive clinical procedures or the kind of demanding daily practice most people cannot sustain. It requires something much simpler and more precise than anything you have probably tried before. The third real thing is about who this is for. Not for everyone. For the ones who feel the pull. For the ones who know there is more. For the ones who have been sitting in the middle of an ordinary life with an extraordinary ache and no name for it until today. This path is for the chosen one who is ready to operate from the brain God designed for them from the beginning. Not a diminished brain running on old patterns and unresolved pressure. The full original brain, the one that was there before the world covered it over. There is a team of neuroscientists who have been working on exactly this, led by a man named Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist based in New York City. They spent years doing one singular thing in the lab, taking the full clinical neural sync protocol used in cutting-edge neurological research and compressing it into something a person could access at home in 8 minutes. What they produced is not a brainwave track, it is not a meditation app, it is not another version of the audio recordings that have been circulating on the internet for years. Dr. Barone is specific about the distinction. Standard audio tracks address the surface of brain activity. What he designed is something different and more fundamental. A targeted auditory sequence built to do one thing with precision. Reconnect the two hemispheres of the brain. Activate whole brain function in the manner that Dr. Roger Sperry described when he won the Nobel Prize in 1981. In the manner that Steve Jobs was accessing when he envisioned the products that changed how the world communicates. In the manner that Nikola Tesla was in when he solved problems no one else could approach from any angle. That state of full whole brain activation is not a spiritual metaphor. It is a neurological reality. And according to the research, it is recoverable. They call it the genius switch. I want to tell you about a woman from California, a nurse, who had spent years carrying other people through their worst moments and arriving home each night to a life she described in her own words as happening to her rather than through her. She had tried meditation for months and said it changed nothing. She had tried audio tracks labeled brain enhancement and said they put her to sleep. She started the genius switch. Within 10 days, she said, the invisible weight she had been carrying since she could remember was simply no longer there. Her marriage changed, her energy changed. The word she used to describe her life after 2 weeks was enchanted, not magical in a supernatural sense. The natural result of a brain finally operating the way it was originally built to operate. That is the kind of restoration we have been describing today, not a spiritual theory, a lived reality that becomes available the moment the instrument is restored. This is built on Nobel Prize science. The foundation of what Dr. Barone created goes back to Dr. Roger Sperry, the researcher who proved that the two hemispheres of the human brain can synchronize in full activation, and who received the highest prize in scientific achievement for that proof in 1981. What Dr. Barone did was take that foundational discovery and translate it into 8 minutes of daily audio that any person can access at home. Here is what it costs. Colleagues in the field suggested this level of access would represent incredible value even at $500. In-person neurofeedback sessions in New York run $300 per hour. A home-based neurofeedback device costs $7,000. The Genius Switch does not cost $500. It was released at $49. And for the people engaging with this message today, there is an additional $10 off on the page. Today, through the link in the description and in the pinned comment below, it can be accessed for $39. At that price, it comes with 4 additional gifts. A guided visualization created by a top-rated creator on the Calm platform, walking you through how your life can unfold across money, love, health, and happiness. A grocery guide that names the 10 most common foods in the average American home that directly contribute to brain fog and cognitive dullness, along with practical ways to replace them and save more than $100 per month. A classic text on abundance that is more than 100 years old and forms the root of virtually everything ever written on drawing provision toward your life. And a beautifully designed 5-habit infographic, printable, meant to be placed where you will see it every single day. All of that comes with a 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Listen to it once. Listen to it 80 times. If it does not shift something real in your mind and your life, you do not pay a single cent. That is not a promotional promise. That is the confidence of a neurologist who knows exactly what this sequence does to a brain that is ready to receive it. One thing I want to say clearly: if you search on popular streaming or video platforms for tracks labeled Genius Brain or Whole Brain Activation, you will find things there. The team, led by Dr. Barone, has studied them. The majority have no neural sync technology embedded in them at all. They were labeled that way for traffic. The actual sequence, the one built on the Sperry research, the one that does what it claims, is only available through the direct page maintained by Dr. Barone and his team. The reason he kept it off commercial platforms is something he explains himself. The link for the authentic sequence is in the description and in the pinned comment below. If what I am saying is resonating, if something in you is saying yes to the restoration we have been describing today, the door is there. Not because God requires a tool to do the impossible. He does not. But because sometimes He places a tool in the precise path of a person who is ready at the precise moment when readiness has arrived. And if this is your moment, nothing is standing between you and what is possible except the willingness to walk through. I want to close this message with something sacred, with something that honors what happened here today, because something did happen, something moved. I felt it in the writing of this, and I believe you felt it in the receiving of it. And before you carry it back into the world, I want to hold this moment with you for just a breath. You came here carrying something. You did not arrive empty. You arrived with a weight that has had your name on it for longer than you can remember. A weight made of waiting and wondering and the particular exhaustion of a person who has been faithful in a season that has not yet delivered what faithfulness was supposed to produce. I see that weight. I want to acknowledge it before I ask you to set it down. It was real. The waiting was real. The questions were real. The nights when you were not sure the door was ever going to open were real. And the fact that you kept showing up anyway, that you did not stop, that you are still here right now at the end of this message, that is not a small thing. That is the evidence of a strength you have not yet been given permission to name as yours. So before we go any further, I want you to do something in your mind. Picture whatever you have been carrying. Give it a shape if you need to, a heaviness, a color, a weight in your chest or your shoulders. Picture it with full honesty, all of it. The disappointment, the unfulfilled prayers, the version of yourself that still does not fully believe the good things said about you, the years you feel you lost in smallness, the fear that this feeling of being chosen is something you invented to cope with a life that did not go the way you planned. Now release it. not by force, not as an act of willpower. Release it as an act of trust. You are placing every one of those things into the hands of a God who is not surprised by any of them, who already knows them more intimately than you do, and who is doing something so unprecedented in your story that the weight you have been carrying is no longer serving the person you are becoming. Release the need to understand how this works. Release the demand that the timeline makes sense to you right now. Release the version of yourself that has been apologizing for wanting more than what you have been given so far. Release the belief that the delay was a verdict on your worth. Release the idea that your best years are somehow behind you. Release the smallness, all of it. Let it go the way a sea lets the shore go when the tide finally rises with purpose and nowhere to stop. You are a chosen one, not as a consolation for what you have not yet received, as a declaration of what you have always been, what you were before you learned to doubt it, and what you will be long after this season of proving is finished. You were chosen before the foundations of the earth were set in place. You were known before your parents ever spoke your name. You were positioned for this exact hour in all of history because God looked at this hour and said, only you, only this one. Only this specific person, with this specific pain, and this specific preparation, and this specific impossible ache for something greater. You are not behind schedule. You are not forgotten in the waiting. You are not the exception to the blessing. You are the reason for the blessing. You are the reason something unprecedented is moving. God is doing the impossible through you because through you, and only through you, can this particular impossible be accomplished. There is no one else who carries this exact fingerprint. There has never been anyone else. There will never be anyone else. You are it. You are a cycle breaker. What has been inherited and repeated and quietly accepted in your line ends with you. The limitation ends. The settling ends. The generation-long pattern of not quite arriving ends. What begins here, what begins now, in this exact breath, is the unbroken and uncontainable rising of a chosen one who finally knows why the impossible always felt personal. Because it was. You are allowed to walk in this. You are allowed to take up the full space of who you were made to be. You are allowed to stop apologizing for the size of what God put inside you. You are allowed to receive the unprecedented without first earning it back through more suffering. You are allowed to be the one through whom God does what he has never done before. That permission was always yours. You are simply claiming it now. Stand still. See what God does. And so it is. If something settled in you during this message, if you felt the truth of what was spoken land somewhere deeper than thought, I want you to type a declaration in the comment section below. Type, I am ready. Not as performance, as a seal, as your agreement with what heaven has already decided about you. Type it and mean it. Because when a chosen one says, I am ready, the sea knows. And if there is someone in your life right now who has been unusually quiet lately, someone who carries that specific look, the expression of a person waiting for permission to believe again, someone who seems to be holding something they cannot name, please share this message with them. You were not brought here only for yourself. The chosen ones who wake up carry something for the ones still moving through the dark. Your sharing is not a favor. It is your assignment. It is the first act of the unprecedented thing God is doing through you. One final word before you go. The genius switch is not a replacement for faith. It is the clearing of the instrument through which faith operates and God speaks. When the hemisphere connection he originally built into you is fully alive again, the clarity with which you receive his voice increases. The precision with which you recognize his movement in your circumstances increases. The strength of your intuition, the sharpness of your direction, the fullness of your capacity to walk in what he has prepared, all of it increases. You were not designed to walk through this season of unprecedented breakthrough with a partially functioning instrument. You were designed to receive in full. The link in the description and in the pinned comment below is there for you. 8 minutes a day, that is all. And the guarantee means you lose nothing by beginning. Go, walk in what you have always been. The impossible is yours. God has already done the part you could not do. He has already moved in your direction with a specificity that has never existed before in history. The only thing remaining is for you to stand in what he has prepared, to breathe in what he has already finished, and to take the first step of the person who is no longer waiting for permission to be who they were made to be. You are the reason. You have always been the reason. And the God who created you has never done this before. Not like this. Not for anyone like you. Go in what you are. Amen.